Quick disclaimer, I was working on this video a month ago, but then life got in the way and I didn't have time to make this kind of video. So there are things that Starbreeze has already addressed in their devlog in this video, but I'm an unstoppable egomaniac and I think my opinion is worth its weight in gold. Like and subscribe to make that ego grow. And now, enjoy the video. Payday 3 is not the game it was supposed to be. After being announced in 2016 and surviving bankruptcy, it fatefully came out in September of 2023. Phrases like the year of Payday 3 and a new criminal dawn were thrown around during the short marketing before release, but the game failed to live up to those titles in my opinion, and is the biggest disappointment of 2023. It may not be complete hot garbage like The Day After Tomorrow or Gollum, but it's the type of game that is screaming to be great, clawing at its own shortcomings, trying to be good, but falls short every time. People will remember Gollum, King Kong, and The Day After Tomorrow because of how bad they were, but people will abandon Payday 3 and memory hole it in a year because of how forgettable it is. It's like eating at a bad restaurant. You eat there, you say the food is fine, and then you never go back. And I don't want that for Payday 3. I want Payday to succeed. Hell, I want Starbreeze to succeed on some level. But at this rate, they're heading for the grave faster than anyone working there has realized. Now, despite the title, I don't think that Payday 3 can be saved in one update. But it will be a good start to the healing process if the devs can tackle the big flaws with their own game. I originally intended for this video to be talking about all the problems that I personally have with the game, so I made a list and added a problem every time I thought of one. So I started at 5, then 10, then 20, then 35, and I ended up with a 50-plus item list of every problem with this game, and at this point I think I can speak confidently about its problems. Now, as much as I want Starbreeze to hear every little thing I have to say, I'm just going to keep this video to the 10 biggest problems with the game, in my opinion. Number 10. The UI and menus. The menus suck, and there's no way around it. The menus are generic and lacking any personality that the franchise is known for. They're basic bitch Unreal presets, and the same can be said for the menus. I get it, you want a clean aesthetic for the game, but this right now is just overkill. It's bland, it's tame, there's no spunk or life at all. Besides the decision to have the player icon be the unmasked variants of the characters, the HUD itself lacks a lot of information that is useful for the player to know. Like, what equipment does my teammates have? How many runtimes do I have in stealth? Or, the most egregious, the police assault indicator being just so fucking boring. In the other two games, it was always accompanied by a triangle and a flashing indicator that an assault was in progress, but here it's just 2 words. That's it. And that's not even touching on the inventory or vendors, or the way favors are displayed in lobbies, but there's a lot more problems to get into. Number 9. The lack of replayability. The game launched with 8 heists, and while that may fly in 2011 or 2013, this is 2023 when this game came out, and that just won't cut it. We have 11 now with the legacy heists and syntax error, but they all suffer from the same replayability issues. Because objectives and spawns are tied to difficulty now, it's always the same basic objectives every time. Get the key card, flip the switch, use the eye scanner, stand in the fucking circles! Not even touching on the crazy RNG that Payday 2 could have on some heists, but when it came to what to do, what spawned this run, and where objectives were, but the first game had stuff that wasn't dependent on difficulty, like the civs and guards spawning in the bank vault on First World Bank, the placement of the manager, or the cache in Heat Street, or the codes not working on Diamond Heist. Subtle things not tied to difficulty, but made each run unique. Now, I appreciate the idea of fixed RNG helping players perfect a run, but it kills anything interesting that can happen on a heist because you've already seen it before you hit restart. Now, I get it, not every heist can pull off having crazy RNG at each run like GoBank, but this problem only is exacerbated by the small pool of heists. This game should have launched with more. Number 8. The DLC prices. This one is simple. $20 for one heist, 4 masks, suits, gloves, and 3 weapons is highway robbery when this game is $40 at base. The bundles in Payday 2 were easier to swallow because they were additions for a already good game, and most people wrote them off by saying it's funding Payday 3. But now the chickens have come home to roost, and that's not going to fly anymore. Jeez, I did not mean for that to be so chicken-focused. That was just foul. Oh! Anyway, point being that by a few months into Payday 2, we had a brand new heist and not a remake from the first game in Diamond Store. But if you actually want anything new for Payday 3, fork over that wallet, buddy, because that'll be $9.99 plus tax for just a new heist. If you want to win the fans back, you have to be putting out quality heists free alongside updates. Number 7, microtransactions. This is where I'm going to call out Starbreeze personally. If you think for a second that as soon as there's an uptick in Payday 3's public opinion and everyone is moved on and you add microtransactions to the game, it is fucking dead. No one likes them, no one wants them, and if you're really at that level where you just don't give a fuck and want money, then maybe you deserve to go fucking under, you money-grubbing pieces of shit! Just don't add them. Just make the game fun and good and people will buy it. Number 6, the heist feeling is just gone. Now, until now, I've scripted every other part of this video, but I'm just going to let it fly with this because it's so subjective. And that is, the heist feeling is just isn't there. And it's hard to pinpoint exactly what it is, but I think a big part is probably the lack of voice lines from the characters. Now, I get it that it's hard to pull off something like Payday the Heist where it's, 4 characters reacting to everything in the map. But even in Payday 2, they had just little things that let everything feel natural, feel alive, immersed you in the world. The characters would announce if the police have arrived. They would announce if an assault's about to happen, if an assault's dying down, if it's kicking back up again. The vault is... They would announce if the vault is breached. They would complain if an RNG effect would happen. Like they would react to lifting up the cars in Scarface Mansion. Or needing a blowtorch for the bars on Murky Station. And just other little things like that. And another thing is that there's just no loud shouting, screaming voice lines for when you're, dominating civs in loud. Hell, you don't even get, loud screaming, get the fuck down voice lines until an assault kicks in. So in my opinion, that just sort of kills all the sort of energy of a heist when you, run in, you shoot the place up, and they're still, mildly talking like it's still stealth. It's not, bang, 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 get the fuck down. It's, bang, 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 show me your hands. The energy's just not there. And it's just so subjective. It doesn't feel like I'm playing a heist. In Payday 1, that was a heist game. That was Heat. In Payday 2, it was a heist game. It was a little more wacky, but it was still a heist. In Payday 3, it doesn't feel like I'm in a heist or I'm a seasoned criminal. I feel like I'm playing a video game. It doesn't feel... The heist feeling just isn't there. And I don't know... I think voice lines would probably be a good direction to try to fix it, but, as it is right now, the heist feeling just isn't there, and I say, part of it is the voice lines, part of it is the sound design. I'm not happy, personally, I'm not happy with, how quiet and sort of not energetic the guns are at all. Because it's like the sound is there, but the effect isn't, And the visuals, just everything's green, and I'll just wrap it up there because it's just my subjective opinion. But other people have talked about it, but the heist feeling just isn't there. Number 5, online only. I'll keep this brief because we all know what the problem is. This insane fucking decision cost Payday 3 60,000 players in its first week on PC, and those people never came back. And why should they? I still get kicked out of heists I'm over halfway done with because of bullshit matchmaking errors, and it happens about 1 in 10 times. Do you know what I do then? I play something else. I know we talk about Payday 3 is gonna die and everything's on the table, but you know how the first 2 games are still alive today? Because they're peer-to-peer. Or at least Payday 2 was until Epic. When the Payday 3 servers are gone within the next 10 years, or sooner, the game is gone with them. Make a fucking offline mode and future-proof your game. Number 4. The armor system. I've tried my best to like the armor system, and in some way I do. I like the idea of having to top off your broken plates, but in practice it's another thing that just holds the game back. And I think I figured out why. Going back to talking about Heat and its famous shootout, there's one thing that is constant in it. In every gunfight in Heat, it's the aggression. The crew knows that if they don't act faster and more aggressively than the LAPD, they're dead where they stand. They are always pushing forward and laying down fire. The name of the game is speed and violence. And in Payday 3, you just can't do that. Stepping out of cover on overkill is a death wish, and even on said death wish in Payday 2, you could still RP as the crew in Heat because you only had to worry about one resource, health. You could pop out of cover, take out some cops, and then duck back down when your armor was low. Let it regen, and then move up with the refreshed armor. Now in Payday 3, you're stuck micromanaging 2 resources, health and armor, and if your armor breaks while you're moving up, well, tough fucking luck, kiddo. Better pull out that armor bag. What? You don't have one because you had used it earlier in the heist? Well, fuck you then! With the system as it is, I don't see how something like overdrill could happen when you're already out of armor by the time you set up the drill. I don't know what it's going to take to fix this. A live system like health, a special set of armor, perk decks, skills, letting some regen back to full, letting a full regen on bars and not partially. I don't know, but I do know that with the system as it is now, it doesn't feel like Payday. The connective tissue and continuity from the old games just isn't there. Number 3, medic bags. Now, I know they're changing medic bags partially already, but I'm here to say...
That's not good enough!
Starbreeze seems to be under this impression that to innovate the game, they have to take away basic features from the old games and lock them away behind skills, and the medic bag is the best example of this. It only heals 33% of health. It only has 2 charges, and it is basically worse than bringing anything else because every heist has a first aid station with 2 first aid kits in it, and you can just trade hostages for first aid kits also. To fix this issue, it's important to look at what started all this in the first place. Not Payday the Heist, Left 4 Dead. In Left 4 Dead, you had medkits that were a full heal of permanent health, but if you were black and white and on your last down, you could use a kit to heal and get a full reset of downs. This is the system that Payday used until 3, and I say it's gotta go back to that way. Get rid of filling this puppy with first aid kits and have it work off 2 full heals that reset downs, along with bringing back the gray screen. Let first aid kits be their own deployable like in 2, and let medkits return to their glory and meme status, because right now, I don't need a medic bag, because there's no point in bringing a medic bag. Number 2, the skill system. This is probably the biggest sin of Payday 3 going off pure gameplay. The skill system as it is reminds me of how the Russian Badger described Battlefield 2042.
More freedom, less identity.
In the first game, by the end, you had all the same skills and buffs, but there was still some variety in what you brought. This guy was bringing sharpshooters, this guy was bringing more blood to bleed, this guy is bringing a sentry with toolbox, and this guy is bringing Mr. Nice Guy for the boys. This only got better in Payday 2. This guy is a technician, he's bringing C4 and has drill skills. This guy's bringing maxed out ammo bags. This guy is the team doctor, he's bringing out medic bags and Spire and maybe even crew chief. And this guy's bringing first aid kits and running a berserker anarchist. But in Payday 3, it's just all edge, rush, and grit. It's all the same skills, it's all the same playstyles, it's just combat reload and tank builds. That's the game in loud right now. And the lack of equipment makes this problem worse as well, seeing as that ECMs don't have feedback by default now. There's no C4, so blowing through metal doors is impossible, and there's honestly so few drills in the game that I miss objectives that are just drill this compared to sitting in the circles. But when there are drills, they're long and it makes me wish that I had drill skills. The system is stagnant. Everything just runs on edge, rush, and grit, and there's no meaningfully different options to change playstyles. In Payday 2, if you got bored running the same type of build, you could do Dodge, you could do Leech, you could do Stoic, Grinder, Muscle, Anarchist, Armorer, Sociopath. I still don't understand how Maniac works. And in Stealth, you had less options, but you had Burglar, Copycat, Hacker. More equipment like Return of Mines and C4 would be good, but skills are the issue here. And skills have to offer more variety in playstyle, because even if everything else works in this game, you're still just in the same loud gameplay loop from the other heist you played earlier. Number 1, the server browser. This is number 1 on this list because it has to be. The game is bleeding players as the weeks go by, and right now console is the only people keeping this game alive, because those PC numbers are shit. And the only people who are going to be left playing are going to wind up leaving the game too, because finding a lobby is a pain in the ass. It's queue for a lobby on Overkill. Will there be people in it? No. Try again. There's people in it. We can play now. They're stealthing. They're stealthing when I want to play loud, and vice versa. There's honestly not much else to say. I like Payday 3. It has its moments, but it just doesn't feel like a sequel to these two games. I showed my friend this game after getting him Payday the Heist on sale, and he really likes it. It's fun, plays well, and it's dripping with atmosphere and world immersion. But when I showed him Payday 3 and asked him how it was, he said that it felt like a 2023 corporate ripoff of Payday. As I said earlier, I like Payday, and I want it to be as great as I think it is, but Payday 3 isn't it. And I don't know how long it will take before it is, if it ever will be. There have been harder crashes than Payday 3 in the last 10 years that have managed to bounce back and become classics. No Man's Sky, Battlefront 2, and even Cyberpunk came around. But with this, only time will tell. But for now, that's it. Like and subscribe if you want to hear more from me, but yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go now. See you guys.